1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Purpose Pro podcast. Our mission is to connect you to your unique design and purpose. And if you love learning simple, effective ways to lead yourself and others well, this podcast is for you. In this episode, we are talking about what your personality reveals about your future. Kind of sounds like we're doing a little palm reading here.
Sounds a little hocus pocusy, but I'll buy.
Yeah.
I also take all the BuzzFeed tests that show up in my Facebook. Yeah. INTP, Enneagram 7, phlegmatic. It's been a while on that one.
Okay.
Lion Golden Retriever mix.
Nice. Harry Potter character?
Yep. Gryffindor all the way.
Okay. Disney character.
Ooh.
Don't know that one.
Are you going to tell me today?
No, I don't know. I'm asking. Ted Lasso character.
I don't want to talk about it. Watch Ted Lasso. The one character that everybody hates, Jamie Tott. That's who I got in the test. Yeah. And then I read it, and I felt like the description read my mail, and exposed all my weaknesses.
Oh my God! If you haven't seen Ted Lasso yet, you're living under a rock. Yeah, it's good, really good. Okay, so let's jump in. So we're looking at a lot of different personality types out there, personality tests. So we got the Myers-Briggs, which is what we're going to use in this episode, and it's okay if you've never taken it. Or if it's been a while, you're going to love it. You're going to be able to figure this out real quick for you.
We're going to type them, right?
Yeah.
During this episode, at the end of this episode, you should have an idea of what your type is.
With at least 80% accuracy, I would say. Yeah. But the Enneagram's really popular too. And I know you're really familiar with the Enneagram. What's the difference between the two?
Well, so Myers-Briggs looks at like your preferences.
Yeah, exactly. Myers-Briggs is measuring your preferences.
And the Enneagram would look at your motivators. So not what you do, but why you do it.
Okay,
awesome.
I think
both are great tests.
Yeah.
And together, INTP and Enneagram 7 kind of helped me understand how I'm wired and how I show up in situations.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're not recommending one over the other. We're just saying in this episode, we're using the Myers-Briggs, what we use in the Purpose Project. But all of these, at the end of the day, provide data. And in the first part of what we're doing to uncover your unique design is that's it. We're collecting data points. And we will put this all together as we move into season 2, or you can shortcut that process, and we'll tell you how in the middle of this episode. Okay, so Myers-Briggs, testing preferences. Now, you got to see these on a scale, right? The first, what they call dichotomy, is measuring where you draw your energy from. Okay? Introvert or extrovert, we've all heard those terms. Introverts draw their energy from their inner world, extroverts from their outer world. The reality is, like all of these, we slide on a scale. So if you're picturing introverts on one end, extroverts on the other end, then the reality is we're both, but we all have a preference on what feels more natural to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what you're gauging. It's not putting you in a box. It's saying we're all capable of everything. But what do you prefer in a neutral setting when you don't have to be one thing or the other?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because all sorts of life situations can have you show up differently.
Right. Okay. We're both introverts.
Yes.
Right? But if we're throwing a party, it's hard to be an introvert. Yep. Right? We're going to have to slide to the other scale.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So there we go. All right. So let's talk about the difference between the two. Extroverts, right? When you talk about getting energy from your outer world, so they're more external focused, right? They like to have a breadth of different types of friends, a lot of different people. They are focused on their outgoing kind of nature. They speak before they think, or I would say a better way to put that is they're speaking. They're speaking to think, right? Talking out loud kind of stuff, right? Very expressive. That's the extrovert. The introvert, on the other hand, draws energy from the inner world. So it's more a internal focus on what's happening within them. They prefer to know just a few people well depth. So we're talking about people that like to think before they speak, people that are seen as more reflective or more contained. There's your introvert. Now, what?
First dichotomy, so both eyes.
Both eyes.
Yeah.
We're both eyes.
And situational, it can be eased, but
absolutely,
naturally both eyes.
Yeah, we can't be introverts on a podcast.
Cool.
So,
be awkward.
Yeah, it would be very awkward. What does this imply about our futures? Okay, so let's take it from our perspective. If you identify more with an introvert, right, then then when it comes to balance of thinking versus doing, right? You're going to have to make sure that you're not overthinking everything. It's got to be balanced with action, right? Because the introvert can tend to over-process things and become paralyzed by your thoughts. So if I'm looking at what's ahead for the introvert, I'm saying you are potentially going to get stuck in the future by just maybe indecisiveness, overthinking things, and you got to balance that with getting out of your shell, being decisive, taking action, and not overanalyzing.
Yeah.
Yeah? Makes sense? Okay. So what if you are the extrovert, right? So here's what comes to mind if you're the extrovert. If you're the extrovert, I'm thinking about what's ahead for you. You're going to need to step back and get clear on what you want to pursue and maybe why, right? So the extrovert has a tendency to kind of be quick to make decisions without constantly thinking things through. So that could get you into some issues and trouble. And so to fight against that nature in your future, be intentional about taking time out to pause, reflect, get clear on what you want to do, and don't be so quick to move from thing to thing to thing. Right? Slow down just a tad and internally process. That's how you balance.
Cool. All right. So second dichotomy.
Yep.
We have sensing and intuition.
Yeah.
Two different ends of the spectrum. You fall somewhere in between.
Right.
So if you are sensing, I'll throw out a couple words and see if these resonate with you. You're present. You tangible. People have called you down to earth. You deal with facts and what is actually present.
Yeah. So what this is measuring is how we process information, right? Right. And so
you walk into a room.
Yeah. Yeah. And or somebody's giving you an idea, bringing information your way. Dude, I got this great idea on how we can make this, some money on the side. We're going to flip Pokemon cards.
I'm down.
Okay. So you're taking in this information from your friend, and read that one more time. So what is the S? How does the S do?
The words?
Yeah. Give those words one more time.
Okay. Present.
Yep.
Tangible.
Yep.
Down to earth. Fact. And actual.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Cool.
So you're looking at, okay, how are we going to do that? What is that going to look like? Where are we going to get these cards? What's the money? You're very present, tangible, hands-on with the data, right?
Yeah.
That's how you're processing.
Yeah. So they walk into a room, they see the colors, remember what people are wearing, the here and the now. So the flip side of that is intuition.
Right.
So I'll read a couple words
Yep.
and we'll see if they resonate.
Okay.
They're thinking about the future. They're thinking about concepts. They're thinking about fantasy or theory, maybe big picture, head in the clouds type stuff. So they walk into a room and they're not noticing what each person is wearing, but how the room feels and everything works together. It's this big mind network of sorts.
Yeah. So if the S side of things, the sensing side, is focused on the present, then the intuitive side is focused on the future. And so that same friend brings that idea to somebody who prefers their intuitive side. Then they're like, oh, that's a great idea. What if we also did this? What if we didn't just flip Pokemon cards, but we did this, and this? So they're thinking like, in the future, what could be conceptual process. So you filter this one through the lens of information coming your way, and then see where that ends up. So far you got two letters that you can combine.
So an I and an N.
Right. You're looking
And
at,
I think we're both INs, right?
We are. And we're looking for a 4-letter code here at the end that you'll be able to look up, and we'll give you
16 personality.
One of 16 different combinations.
Okay.
We'll give you the complete guide. It'll be in the downloads in this episode. But so far you're either a IN or a EN or
in.
IS or ES. We're both INs.
Yep.
We're both in. Okay, third one. Here we go. The third one, the thinking and feeling functions, T and F. This is talking about how we make decisions. Okay, so the T, the thinking. All right, that is. You know what? I need to go back because we didn't talk about the S and the N and what that means about our future.
Oh.
Man, we're just speeding through this because we love this stuff too much.
You're talking double time.
Okay.
So if you are an S, then when you're moving towards the future, you need to be careful not to miss the forest for the trees, to get so bogged down in the details that you miss the big picture and where you're going.
Right.
You can focus in too much on the here and the now.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then the intuitive side would almost be the opposite.
Yeah.
Like if you look forward, if I'm looking at what's ahead for you in your future, you might have your head in the clouds so much that you forget that your legs were made for movement, right?
Yeah.
And movement is life when it comes to bringing your ideas to life. Otherwise, you're just that person that has a lot of ideas but doesn't actually do anything.
I could have the greatest ideas on the planet, but if I don't ever actually share them with the world and create steps to bring them to life, it really doesn't matter.
Right.
I can be so caught up in the future that if I'm not present, I will miss out.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So now we move to the think and feeling, how we make decisions.
Okay.
All right. So the T side, the thinking side, if you lean that way, then when you're making decisions, you're often making decisions with your head because you're seeking clarity. You're objective in your decision making. You like and don't mind, I would say, telling people the hard truth, right? Mm-hmm. Like the kind of person that says that person just needs to know. And you're more non-personal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of almost like the information, the facts. We're going to do what needs to be done.
Yeah. And so thinkers, we're not saying that thinkers don't feel or feelers don't think.
Right.
But your natural tendency, I definitely fall on the T side.
Yeah. And
I have to be intentional about considering emotions.
Yeah.
Especially in close relationships or how I deliver information.
Right. And I would say you're probably more to the middle than I am on this. I'm hardcore T. On the other end of the spectrum, you have F, right?
Yep.
You have people who are making decisions and their knee-jerk reaction is to make those decisions with their heart instead of their head because they're seeking not so much clarity right away, but harmony, right?
Yep.
They're very, subjective when it comes to making decisions, very people-oriented, and would prefer to use tact, right, when conveying a hard truth to folks. So
your T-ness would fit with your Enneagram number 5 also.
Nice.
We can dig into that in another episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good connection. So we're both ints.
Int so far, yeah.
INTs?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like that fits with the int character from Lord of the Rings, but we can break that down later too.
Yeah.
All right. So what does this mean for our future?
Okay. Here's what this implies for your future. So if you have if you have the thinking function, if that's where you lean, then you may win the battles, but you could lose the war. In other words, don't sacrifice your relationship with people over the satisfaction that comes from being right. Mm-hmm. Right? You're processing and you feel like this is the best decision. It's the most logical. It fits. It's clear. It's objective. But you're not counting the people a part of the equation into it. So yeah, you might win the argument and strong arm people into the decision, but lose people's respect or lose a little bit of your leadership and influence in the process, right? So let's flip that and say, well, what if you lean toward the F side when it comes to making decisions and leverage that feeling function? Well, your concern for others could actually turn out to be a little bit cancerous, if that makes sense. Like, what if you don't let the hard realities of the situation or the truths, what if they go unaddressed, right? And so, in other words, a lot of people find themselves in this situation where they're constantly trying to appease people and find harmony and just want everybody to get along. So when you look at what's ahead in your future, if you lean too much on this side, then people could walk all over you. Right? You could be not making the right decisions in an effort to just make everybody happy. Mm-hmm. And the reality is you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah.
So somebody's not going to agree with your decision. It's
Sometimes leadership, is having the tough conversations that need to move the whole organization forward.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the last dichotomy is J's versus P's, judging versus perceiving.
Yep.
And this breaks down how we prefer to live our lives. It speaks to how we choose to get things done.
Yep.
And this is probably where we differ the most.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
We fall, this is probably where I'm less towards the middle and more towards the P side.
Right.
So let's break this down a little bit. Jace, planned, structured, scheduled, and this is what like seals it for me, fixed.
Yeah.
You lock something in, you're staying with it.
Yeah, to-do list. Yeah. Like before this episode, we argued about what room to shoot in.
Yeah, because you just wanted to get it done.
Yeah, I just want to get it done.
I just want to get it done right.
We have a plan. Here's what we need to do tonight. And you want to keep your options open and explore every room in this building.
Yeah.
And
I just want the right room.
Right.
So P's, open-ended.
Yeah.
We like alternatives. We're spontaneous. We're flexible. If we were given an assignment, then you would put it on your to-do list, prioritize it, and knock it out well before the due date.
Right.
Once you knock it out, you're never revisiting it.
Yeah.
I would get the assignment. I would have the due date, and I would do a little bit here and a little bit there, and I would constantly rework it right up until the time that it's due.
Yeah.
And then maybe a little bit past the due date.
Right.
And then finally turn it in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, always past the due date.
Yeah, probably.
Taxes are due April 15th, so, but, you can file for an extension,
what
and then you
today?
can file, just giving you a heads up.
You can file for an extension? All right, so what does this mean for our future?
Yeah.
So if you are a J, if you're judging, if those first set of words, really describes you, here's the deal. Too much structure could stifle your creativity.
Yes.
Stifle your vision and lock you down. So create a plan, but don't stress out when things naturally don't go according to the plan.
Yes.
We can't control everything.
Right. And the way a planner gets around that is by always planning for things to not go right. And be okay when they do. If you're going to plan something that needs to be done in an hour, you better allow yourself an hour and a half. Always create a buffer.
Yeah.
Right?
And so if you're the P, then you can be a lot of fun. You can be very adventurous. People will follow that. But if it prevents you from doing the hard, necessary things that it takes to bring your vision to life, then you're in trouble. So what do? I surround myself with J's. I find people that complement, my weaknesses, and people that hold me accountable. And I'm gonna write stuff down.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, there you go.
INTP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before,
so I've got my 4.
You got your 4. I'm INTJ. So you can Google that in the Myers-Briggs, right? You put your 4 letters together. And see what that comes out with. Again, we have the guide here in the episode show notes. I want to take a minute to pause before we conclude this episode and say that if you're one of those folks that's been listening, now we're 3 episodes deep, and you're like, all right, I want the shortcut to this. How do I understand my purpose, my unique design, all that kind of stuff? Go to purposepro.org. A couple of different options. We have an online course you can take for $29. I mean, it's like less than you would pay for a pair of jeans. It's a no-brainer. I mean, you really should be doing that anyway. Plus, all the profits go back to feed our nonprofit, which serves at-risk teens, helping them discover their unique design and purpose. Thing. Yeah, all of that. So you're not making us rich. We're here to help support you. We believe in your story, and we want to hear from you. So you have that option. You also have an option to sign up for a private workshop and have us or one of our certified guides take you through this yourself and get right to the core of who you're uniquely made to be in 90 minutes. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So what an investment.
Yeah.
All right. So an INTP, I'm the logician.
All right. So INTJ, the architect. So that's kind of where we land. We feel like those buckets when we read those strengths and weaknesses represent us to at least 80% accuracy.
Yeah.
Right? Because nothing's perfect.
Yep. So now once you have these 4 letters, you can look at strengths, weaknesses. It will give you people throughout history who share this personality type. Yep. And we'll dig more into that in the next episode.
We are. And I'll just say that we have a special download here that actually one of our close friends, Tyler Schutze,
author of The Awkward List.
Yes, he just wrote a brilliant book called The Awkward List that you would love. It's amazing. You need to check this out. So he created this kind of chart to show us that the best decisions are made when we combine and look for the center of all of these different functions. And so that's worth a download. So I would take a few minutes to kind of our call to action here is to take a few minutes to do the personality test online if you want to. You can go to 16personalities.com for a more official version of the Myers-Briggs.
Official but free.
You got our guide in the show notes, And then Tyler's decision matrix is really cool to look through as well.
Yeah, it'll help you break this down and apply it to your everyday life.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so episode 4, what do we got coming up next? We're going to talk about talents.
Natural talents.
Natural talents. Mm-hmm. And this could be a tough one for some folks, but we're gonna give you a way to think through a core list of natural talents and how those apply to what you should be doing. So it's going to be good.
Yep.